1 Kings chapter 18. Elijah ends the drought. Long afterwards, in the 3rd year, the word of the Lord came to Elijah. Go present yourself to Ahab, that I may send rain upon the earth. Good morning. So Elijah went to present himself to Ahab. Now the famine in Samaria was severe, and Ahab had summoned Obadiah, master of his palace, who was greatly revered in the Lord. When Jezebel was slaughtered, the prophets of the Lord, Obadiah took 100 prophets, hid them away by 50s in the caves, and supplied them with food and water. Ahab said to Obadiah, "Go through all the land to all sources of water and to all the wadis." Ahab said to Obadiah, "Go through the land and all the sources of water and all the wadis. May we find grass and keep the horses and mules alive, so that we shall not have slaughter any of the beasts." Divided the land to explore between them. Ahab went by himself, one way by himself, and Obadiah another way by himself. As Obadiah was on his way, Elijah met him. Recognizing him, Obadiah fell prostrate and asked, "Is it you, my lord Elijah?" He said to him, "Yes. Go tell your lord Elijah is here." But Obadiah said, "What sin has your servant committed that you are handing me over to Ahab to be killed? As the Lord your God lives, there is no nation or kingdom where my lord has not sent in search of you." When they replied, "He is not here," he made each kingdom and nation swear that they could not find you. Now here you say, "Go tell your lord Elijah is here." After I leave you, the Spirit of the Lord will carry you to some place I do not know. And when I go to inform Ahab that he does not find you, he will kill me, though your servant has revered the Lord from his youth. Have you not been told, my lord, what I did when Jezebel was murdering the prophets of the Lord? That I hid 100 prophets of the Lord, 50 in each caves, and supplied them with food and water. Now you say, "Go tell your lord Elijah is here." "He will kill me," Elijah answered. "As the Lord of hosts lives, whom I serve, I will present myself to him today." So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and informed him. Ahab came to meet Elisha. When Ahab saw Elisha, he said to him, "Is it you, the disturber of Israel?" And he answered, "It is not I who disturb Israel, but you and your father's house, by forsaking the commandments of the Lord, and by you following the Baals. Now summon all Israel to me on Mount Carmel, as well as 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table." So Ahab summoned all the Israelites and had the prophets gather on Mount Carmel. Elisha approached all the people and said, "How long will you straddle the issue? If the Lord is God, follow him. If Baal, follow him." But the people did not answer him. So Elisha said to the people, "I am the only remaining prophet of the Lord, and there are 450 prophets of Baal. Give us 2 young bulls. Let them choose one, cut it to pieces, and place it on wood. But start no fire. I shall prepare the other and place it on wood, but shall start no fire. You shall call upon the name of your gods, and I will call upon the name of the Lord. And the God who answers with fire is God." All the people answered, "We agree." Elisha then said to the prophets of Baal, "Choose 1 young bull, prepare it first, for there are more of you. Call upon your gods, but don't start the fire." Taking the young bull that was turned over to them, they prepared it and called upon Baal from the morning to noon, saying, "Baal, answer us." But there was no sound and no one answering. And they hopped around on the altar they had prepared. When it was noon, Elijah taunted them, "Call louder, for he is a god, He may be busy doing his business or may be on a journey. Perhaps he is asleep and must be awakened." They called out louder and slashed themselves with swords and spears according to their ritual until blood gushed over them. Noon passed and they remained in a prophetic state until the time for offering the sacrifice. But there is no sound. No one answered, no one listening. Hi, Misty. Then Elijah said to the people, "Come here to me." When they drew near to him, he prepared the altar which had been destroyed. He took 12 stones for the number of tribes of the son of Jacob, whom the Lord had said, "Israel." Hi, baby. Domino. "Israel shall be your name." He built the stones into an altar to the name of the Lord and made a trench around the altar. Yeah, we're talking about Elisha. Large enough for 2 measures of grain. When he had arranged the wood, he cut up the young bull and laid it on the wood. And he said, "Fill the jars with water and pour it over the burnt offering and over the wood." "Do it again," he said, and they did it again. "Do it a 3rd time," he said, and they did it a 3rd time. The water flowed around the altar. Even the trench was filled with water. At the time for offering the sacrifice, Elijah the prophet came forward and said, "Lord, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known this day that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant and have done all these things at your command. Answer me, Lord, answer me, that this people may know, Lord, that God you, and that you have turned their hearts back to you." The Lord's fire came down and devoured the burnt offering, wood, stones, and dust, and lapped up the water in the trench. Seeing this, all the people fell prostrate and said, "The Lord is God. The Lord is God." Then Elijah said to them, "Let none of them escape. Seize the prophets of Baal. Let none of them escape." They seized them, and Elisha brought them down to the Wadi Kishon, and there he slaughtered them. Elijah said to Ahab, "Go up, eat and drink, for there is the sound of a heavy rain." So Ahab went up to eat and drink, while Elisha went up to the top of Carmel, crouched down on the earth, and put his head between his knees. He said to his servant, "Go up and look out to see." He went up and looked, but reported, "There is nothing." 7 times he said, "Go look again." On the 7th time, the young man, hands raising from the sea, Elijah said, "Go and say to Ahab, harness up and go down the mountain before the rain stops you." All at once the sky grew dark with clouds and wind, and heavy rain fell. Ahab mounted his chariot and headed for Jezreel. But the hand of the Lord was on Elisha. He girded up his clothing and ran before Ahab as far as he approached to Jezreel.